If your business is doing anywhere between $1 to $10 million a year, you have anywhere between 3 to 50 employees, but the business feels chaotic, stressful, and overly dependent on you, this might be why. I was talking to a friend the other week, and his father went through a 12-step program, the recovery program, and we had a long conversation about how much it changed his life from A to Z. He mentioned that his father didn't just rebuild his life. He mentioned that his father didn't just quit his addiction, he literally rebuilt his life from the inside out. And it led me to think that there's something special about that kind of transformation. It's called a 12-step program, meaning one step at a time to have a complete change and transformation of a person's life. And that led me thinking, what if small businesses had a process too? A 12-step process? Not for addiction, but for freedom. Freedom from the daily headaches, freedom from the daily firefighting, freedom from the daily working inside of your business and not growing your business, from being the bottleneck, from burnout, from feeling like the one who holds everything together. So if you're making anywhere between $1 to $10 million and everything still depends on you, sales, operations, delivery, it's time for a reset. It's time for a transformation. This video is not just about data. It's a way to look at your business from a spiritual way. Those are 12 KPIs, 12 scoreboards, 12 data points that you have to track that will take your business from chaos to clarity, from being stuck to scalable, from selling at a low valuation when you want to exit at your terms for top dollar, from constantly working inside of your business to finally building a business that works without you, that can work on the business. Those 12 KPIs are the truth, they're the data that tell how your business functions. Most business owners that we work with within our firm try to avoid these numbers, try to avoid these KPIs because they feel that they're too difficult, they're small business, they don't need to know all these numbers. But the truth, the successful business owners, the business owners that can build a $10 million business, that they work on the business and they're now working in the business and they make 25-30% margins and have a great life doing so, they look at these points because these points take them towards freedom, profitability, and eventually a business that's worth buying for top dollar, that's attractive to future investors and private equities, even if you're not planning to sell it at the moment. By the way, my name's Eli. I'm the guy that helps founders feel free again. We help small business owners that are doing anywhere between 6 to 8 figures, usually in the $1 to $10 million range, that have anywhere between 3 to 50 employees, build a business that runs without them. We help them systemize, scale, and increase the valuation of their business by taking the owner out of the day-to-day operations and letting him work on the business, not inside of his business. So just like the 12-step program is a transformational spiritual program, knowing these 12 KPIs, knowing these 12 data points, guides your business toward its transformation. Every KPI is a checkpoint. Am I building a business that can scale without me? Am I building a business that can work and grow without me, being there every day? Or one that collapses or slows down the moment I stop showing up every day, the moment when I want to step back? Let's talk to the 12. Let's start with financial KPIs. The first one, cash collected. What does that mean, right? That's the actual cash that you received, not the cash, not your invoices, not what people have to pay you. It's the cash that you have received to your bank account. Why does it matter to track it, whether it's on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis? Because without cash, you can't pay bills. Without cash, you cannot grow. Without cash, you cannot do the daily functions of your business. One of my clients had like over $100,000 in invoices at any given time, but his cash flow was poor. He was struggling to pay small bills, right? That's why it's very important to know your real runway, protect yourself against false confidence. You need to know how much money you collected from your jobs, from your projects. And based on that, you make smart decisions. And from a spiritual connection, speaking to my friend and my friend's father, that the truth is clarity. The moment he told me that the moment everything changed is the moment that he was brave enough and admit that he's an addict, that he has a problem. That truth gave him clarity. If you're not honest about where you really are, you can't really grow with integrity. So that's why knowing your cash collected is super, super, super important, because it forces you, it really forces you to understand where you're standing and make decisions based on where you're standing at the moment. The net profit. So the net profit is basically the bottom line. How much money are you making after all the noise, after all the expenses? It really tells the truth about your efficiency as a company, right? So revenue is the top line, the bottom line is your net profit. It's all about the efficiency and the discipline of the business. You have to make smart decisions based on how much money you keep. You make your tax decisions based on that. You make your expansion decisions based on that. You make your scaling decisions based on that. And that's a way to measure operational health. Because right now we're working with a landscaping company, right? Their margin is about 24, 25%. It's great, but it can get better if they're becoming more efficient. So there's the top line, they're making X amount of dollars. There's a bottom line, which is about 24, 25% of those of that top number. Now, with our experience with a service world, it should be at least 30%. For that size of a company, at least 30%. So the net profit, the bottom line, gives us the truth about where they actually are, about some inefficiencies, about some ways to improve. Because it's not about how much money comes in the business, it's about what's left. The third the third KPI we have to look at is the revenue per employee, right? How much, and we can't really track it to the 100%, but we can try and do the best we can. How much revenue does each employee bring into the business? Is your team bloated or efficient? This information really reveals about team performance and bottlenecks. Is there a leak somewhere? Is there a bloat somewhere? Are you overspending? Are you underspending? You should really know whether you're overspending or like under automating. And again, let me to think from our conversation, we spoke about clarity and purpose and roles. So I understand it as every role inside of your company needs to have a purpose. You can't just hire people to hire them. You have to have a purpose, right? It really reveals about how you build your team. It's something to really think about. The next KPIs are sales and marketing KPIs. The first KPI that we have to look into, I'm going to tell you why I even thought about it. He mentioned that during the 12-step process, he really had to change his friends. He has to change his life. He said when he first went to one of those meetings, the therapist told him, "Okay, you have to come for a therapy session once a week with me. You have to go to three meetings per week, or whatever they call them, AA, or I'm not sure. Three meetings per week. You can't hang out with the same friends that you used to hang out to. You can't drink alcohol anymore. You can't smoke marijuana anymore. You can't be looking at the same things you were looking at anymore." And my friend's father was told like, "Oh my God, so how am I going to live? I have to completely change my life." And the therapist told him, "That's the point. You have to change your relationships. You have to change the people that you hang out with. If there's a chance of success in this transformation, the spiritual transformation of changing his mind from being an addict to actually changing his life, he has to make a complete transformation. He has to change his relationships." So I thought about client LTV, right? Client LTV is how much is your client worth over time. This information gives you clarity whether you need to spend more on marketing, whether you can invest more into your clients, which clients to prioritize, which clients to put more effort in. And that's the connection between the spiritual world and the business world. If you want to keep clients, you want to retain clients, you have to treat them like real relationships you care about. You have to build those relationships the right way. You have to give them value. So the client LTV gives you that clarity. The second KPI that we can focus on in the sales and marketing KPIs is the client acquisition, the CAC, which is basically what it takes to win a client. What's the average cost to acquire a new client through marketing or sales? So without this knowledge of knowing your CAC, you're basically gambling with hiring sales team and hiring marketing agencies. You're wasting your time. You don't know what's the cost of client acquisition. You're not making smart decisions. And that ties to the spiritual world because chasing without purpose just drains your energy. Chasing money drains your energy. Each of us has to have a purpose that we go after, that we serve, that we help. Chasing is not going to help. Same thing with client acquisition, same thing with sales, same thing with marketing. Know what it takes to get a client and build the business based on that. The third metric. Okay, so I know my client LTV, the value of each client. I know my CAC, how much does it cost me to get a client? Now we have this golden metric. We have the LTV divided by the CAC. That's the ratio. That's basically what's the return for every dollar spent to acquire a client, right? If my client LTV is $100 and it cost me $30 to acquire this client, then I divide the 100 by 30 and I get the ratio. So if LTV is 3 times the CAC, at least, you're scaling smart. This is the minimum ratio it should be for small businesses, not less than 3. That's how you scale smart. That's how growth comes in a sustainable way and in a sustainable pace. And the same thing with the spiritual world based on the conversation with the 12-step program. You have to know what you're doing. It has to make sense. You can't just do stuff, meaning you can, but it's not going to plant a right seed. You have to make sure that your actions, that what you're doing is actually worth your time. You have to make sure that, this opportunity makes sense to do. So if the ratio is not there, if, the LTV divided by CAC is like 2, you're not going to scale smartly. It's not going to be beneficial long term for your business. Make smart decisions based on those numbers. Then we move to lead quality KPI. The first KPI came to my mind is when my friend's father told my friend, I'm sorry, my friend told me that one of the first things that they teach at the 12-step program is you shouldn't believe every voice that comes into your head. Meaning your mind is not always your friend. Sometimes your mind will come up with excuses why you need to drink the alcohol, or why I need to do this drug, or why I need to go gamble, whatever the addiction is. One of the first things that you have to work on is self awareness. You have to be able to look at your own thoughts and understand which one of them is right and which one of them is wrong. Meaning, we are not our mind. We shouldn't just follow what our minds tell us to do. We're not monkeys. That's why there's the term monkey brain or horse brain. They're just animals that do whatever they think they should do. We're human. We should be able to be self aware and listen to the right thoughts and right signals inside of our brain. That's the cost per MKL, which is basically qualified lead, the marketing qualified lead. How much does it cost to acquire a marketing qualified lead? It separates the lead from the rest of the cold traffic that's not relevant to us, and from here, you understand, what am I attracting the right people that actually have a future of converting their qualified lead, or I'm just attracting noise, or I'm just attracting clicks that don't convert into anything. Filter the cold traffic from the real leads that they have a chance of conversion. The next one, outreach to MKL. That's the ratio of conversations you're having that actually convert into qualified leads. Like, if no one's buying, are you really offering? Meaning to say, we have to understand, where is the problem with your offer. Are you really offering to the qualified leads whatever they want? Something is broken in your sales agent, possibly. And how did I come up with that? I realized that if you don't ask for help, nobody's going to help you. If you're an addict, right? If you have a problem in your life, you have to ask for help. You will never receive unless you ask. And the same thing with service. If we're not giving to our qualified leads what they want to be given, they're not going to buy from you. And that's a metric that can really help you in order to really scale your business and make it so much more valuable. The third KPI that we should look at is your sales conversion rate, your close percent, your close rate. It really tells you how dialed your process is, your sales process is. That's basically the percent of leads that turn from just regular lead qualified leads to clients. And it tells you a lot about your funnels, about your sales calls, a lot about your offer. And from knowledge and data, you can improve your offer, you can improve your funnel, you can improve your sales calls. That's the work you have to put into the business and the work you have to put into yourself from a spiritual standpoint. You're inside of the process. You're in the 12 steps. You have to put in the work. You have to understand, where am I falling, where I'm not doing things the right way, whether it's addiction, self-improvement, it doesn't matter. You have to put in the work. You have to see where you fall and get better. The fourth KPI is the churn rate. Super, super, super important. Super important. Super important. Because if you're a small business, every client counts. And if people leave your product or your service, you constantly have to rebuild. You constantly have to find new clients. So the churn is the percent of clients that leave you. That's the churn rate. If you have a high churn rate, it means there's something wrong with your process. You can use that information to maybe improve client experience, improve your onboarding plan, and maybe your product delivery. I don't know, but that, if you have a high churn rate, it's a data that you have to fix something. The next one is the testimonials collected. Most businesses don't collect testimonials, and it's a huge mistake. I personally also have to get better at collecting testimonials, but I just realized this week that testimonials is social proof. It's basically somebody's raising their hand and saying, "Hey, Eli helped me. Eli helped me to take me out of the day to day. Because of Eli, I increased the valuation of my business. Because of Eli, I work less and earn more money. Because of Eli, I work less. I can step back from my business and profit more." People raised, and that raising the hand, the proof that you helped someone, sells. That can increase your sales process. That can increase your conversion rate. It's basically a way of your past clients to give you gratitude, and gratitude is always a great idea. Gratitude shifts your energy. Gratitude brings you more blessings into your life. That's basically digital gratitude these days in business. And the last metric, but I want to say the most overlooked metric, is repeat customers. Potential future buyers, again, even if you're not planning to sell your business at a moment, but maybe you think about exit in 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, investors and buyers love business with loyal customers. Repeat buyers is trust, is consistency. It shows that the business could be high margin. It shows about growth because it's cheaper to resell something to an existing client than to go hunt a new client. It's like maximizing the LTV without scaling chaos. It's incredible. From a spiritual standpoint, true value is built over time. Loyalty, especially from your customers and in life, is a byproduct of who you become as a person. So those are the 12 KPIs that will literally set your business free. Most founders and business owners that we work with inside of a company, they don't burn out and they don't fail because they work too hard or because they work too long. They burn out because they're working on the wrong things, with no vision, with no clarity, with no purpose, without a dashboard, without KPIs that tell the truth about how the business is really functioning. These 12 KPIs, they're not just numbers. They're a way to measure your business. If your business can actually grow and run without you, or it falls apart without you. Those 12 KPIs are your business's 12-step program for freedom to actually build a business that runs and grows without you being there every day in the day-to-day operations. Yeah, by the way, in the description, there's a link that shares about how we help companies take the owner out of the day-to-day operations, install the systems, install the processes, install the KPIs, and help business owners scale, improve the valuation of the business, step back from the business. And one of the things we do is we're a second set of eyes to identify where the bottleneck in your business is, where the leak in your business is. And from there, we implement the systems, the process in order to help you scale, grow, make your business more attractive for future exit. But there's a link down below that explains what we do. I'm not saying you should, I'm saying if you need help. And if this video hit home and you got a value from it, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know the topics you're interested about, whether it's operational efficiency, business systemization, implementation, COO work, whatever it is. Let me know what interests you and I will make videos based on that. I really appreciate you watching. Take care.